In this video, we are going to learn how this will turn into this. What in the world is this? And why is there another almost identical ship tied up a few feet away? Well, the last time I walked through these doors, it was for the delivery of an iconic explorer yacht called RAGNAR. My team and I filmed the yacht just a day or so before her delivery, and she was so unique in her design, so eye-catching, with so many amazing features, that she was soon featured in every yachting magazine, whether online or in paper. The video series that we produced had well over 1 million views. Icon had already successfully converted other ships into luxury yachts, but RAGNAR really caught the attention of yacht owners who wanted to repurpose commercial vessels and turn them into luxury explorer yachts. One such yacht owner commissioned Project Master. Together with the owner, the shipyard sourced a donor vessel called Ocean Ness. Now this is not just any ship, it's a supply and rescue vessel with an emphasis on rescue, built to service oil rigs. When every other ship is heading back into port in the eye of a hurricane, this yacht has to be able to withstand anything the ocean can throw at her. She has to be able to get to her destination because lives could quite literally depend on her. This is what they were looking for, a vessel that could travel the world in comfort and above all in safety, something family friendly and also something they could future-proof, but I'll come back to that in a moment. With the donor vessel located, work started on developing the project, and at last year's Monaco Yacht Show I had the pleasure of meeting with designer Espen Oeno, who took me through the design features. I'll put a link to that video at the end of this one. Espen clearly has a world-class talent, not just at designing yachts of all sizes, but also at understanding how to work with the shipyard to make the process as simple as such a project possibly can be. First, bulwarks would need to be cut away from the sizable aft deck and all of the unnecessary and older equipment removed. This would leave most of the forward area of the vessel, but pretty much nothing at all at the aft end. The bulwarks would need to be rebuilt to a higher level and with side windows in areas, since this deck will now accommodate 5 guest staterooms. A second deck will be added with a spacious lounge area. A third deck will become the owner's deck with his or her stateroom, and the roof of that deck will be certified as a helicopter landing pad. Not touch and go, you will be able to land and refuel the helicopter from the yacht. Finally, the already high bow will be slightly built up and a sun deck added. And that is how this turns into this. But there's so much more to this story, starting with these bits and pieces here. You see, the appeal of a conversion project is very much that you're taking an existing commercial vessel and turning it into a luxury super yacht by repurposing existing materials. This, for example, was a shaft generator. It can be sold, reconditioned, and reused. This is some sort of a compressor. The same is true again, but not everything that is on the ship as it is right now needs to be reconditioned or resold. Some parts from ships that pass through here can be kept and reused, and a great example is found on this little pallet here with these stainless steel fittings. There's nothing wrong with these, they're like they're brand new, so they can be reused and probably will be reused in the crew quarters once that has had that part of the refit completed. Certainly though, this is a yacht that is going to be brought into the modern age. And to do that, they even had to take the engines out and to upcycle them. That's right, when launched, Project Master will benefit from a highly advanced and extremely efficient hybrid diesel-electric propulsion system. Before I show you the colossal amount of work required to achieve that, let me briefly illustrate how the system works. To create the energy required to run the yacht, 500 kilowatt generators will be installed in place of the old engines. They will charge a battery bank that could be up to 2 megawatts. And the battery bank will supply all of the hotel load, the bow thruster, and these rather unusual looking propellers. When the shipyard asked me if I'd heard of Voith Schneider propellers, I immediately said yes. Partly because I had heard of Voith, and partly because, well, I wanted to sound smarter than I really am. In truth, I have never seen these kind of propellers before, and they really are rather smart. Each propeller rotates rapidly in the way that a propeller usually does, but the blades are facing downwards. Each blade, in turn, can rotate to a different angle, and this can either propel the vessel forwards, backwards, or in any direction at all that you want. It gives the yacht remarkable manoeuvrability and is in fact the chosen propulsion of many offshore vessels. Added to that, together with the bow thruster, the Voith Schneider props have dynamic positioning capability. That means that the yacht can stay in position without having to drop the anchor, and in times when the seabed and seagrass is being, quite rightly, fiercely protected, that's a wonderful feature for a world cruising yacht. All of that though is easier said than done. To see how Icon are achieving this, I had to take a trip into the heart of the yacht. This is the engine room of the yacht and the place where most of the work is being carried out right now. As you can see, already they're cutting away at these foundations for the engines. Previously, the old engines were facing upwards, strangely enough, towards the stern of the yacht. I'll explain why that was in a moment, but first let me draw your attention to this shaft here that's facing downwards towards the bow. Now, why is that? Well, because through here, there was a drop down bow thruster that actually protruded from underneath the bow of the yacht, and that was the shaft that powered that bow thruster. Now they've been able to get rid of the bow thruster. It's going to be upcycled, reconditioned, reused probably on another ship. They don't really need it because there was a second bow thruster anyway in a tunnel at the extreme part of the bow, which is a more traditional method. And with that and the Voith Schneider propellers, they have sufficient maneuverability for the vessel. So as I said, this is all going to be level and flat when they finish cutting away at the foundations. Then the 500 kilowatt generators will be positioned in here. Obviously plenty of room for maintenance in this area. Up those steps, that's where the old switchboard room was, a very important part of the yacht, but it won't serve any purpose now. So they're stripping that out because there'll be a power management system on board, a system that takes power from the generators and decides whether it needs to go to the batteries or to some other part of the yacht. It's a highly sophisticated, highly efficient system. Let's take a look through here. I love this part of the ship. This is the old workshop. There's all the machinery here for them to even tool another component for the engines if they needed to. This will become the chief engineer's office. He'll be able to observe everything from here. There'll be a window in this bulkhead so he can take a look at the generators. but it also have easy access to this compartment through here. Now this used to be the pump room. It was full of pumps for transferring fuel from one tank to another, all kinds of things. But this will now be the battery storage area. There will be a central corridor, and then off to either side, there'll be storage for all of those battery banks. From time to time, I have comments on the YouTube channel from people who are concerned about the safety aspects of batteries. In this case, battery technology has come on leaps and bounds, and each individual battery cell will be encased in a fireproof and explosion-proof casing, so maximum security on this yacht. Let's move further aft though, because it gets more and more interesting. This is a watertight bulkhead. That's important, as we'll see as we go up these steps. So this used to be the storage area for spare parts. Now a lot of the spare parts they had on board won't be necessary with the new iteration of this yacht. So what they're going to do is remove these bulkheads, make the area a lot more wide than it is now, and use it for water toy storage. Now those water toys can even be really quite heavy, because above us, more or less, there will be on the main deck an MOB tender, maybe a couple of jet skis, maybe another small tender with some cranes. And there'll be hatches here so that the crane can literally fish out the water toy that they want to use and launch it directly overboard. What about this though? This is one of the original shafts for the commercial vessel. They were 26 meters long, pointing upwards. Can you imagine the vibration and the noise that might create? I mean, it's not a problem if you have a supply and rescue boat. Nobody really cares about noise and vibration so much, but it's not good on a luxury yacht. So these are being removed, but take a look where they led to. The end of the shaft attached onto the pod. So these are actually propelling the yacht along through those pods that they had previously. Those are going to be replaced, of course, with the Voith Schneider propeller units that they have. I mentioned that below we have a watertight bulkhead. That's this bulkhead here. And as a part of the project, they're actually going to cut through the entire hull at this point so that the yacht will be transformed from a 66-meter support and rescue vessel to a 70-meter super yacht with the most amazing transom beach club at the stern of it as well. But what about the range of the ship? What about her layout? Will she be an icebreaker? What about the other toys and accessories that are going to be on board? I already know that you will have many questions that I haven't answered in this video, and that's simply because in one visit and in one video it's very difficult to answer all of the questions about all of the aspects of this incredible project. And I have to be perfectly honest, I'm also hoping that the owner and the shipyard will invite me back at a later date to give you a progress report on how they're getting on with it. So this is a great opportunity for you. If you have any questions that you really want to know the answers to, do leave them in the comments section below. And when I come back, I will do my utmost to answer all of your questions about what I think is one of the most exciting super yacht projects in the world today. For now. Because tied up behind me is another donor vessel for another project, for another owner who has very similar visions for his yacht, but with a very different outcome. And that has to be a story for another day.